and I had the wrong thing ready to pull up.
Welcome back. All right, so this week we have a crap ton of things to go over. I swear I will not pick that up again to make the light be all weird on my camera. First off, hot off the presses, just a few hours ago, Critical Role announced The Legend of Vox Machina will be released 1 week sooner than previously announced. Before, it was February 4th that it was previously going to be released on Amazon Prime, but they have moved it back to January 28th, 2022. So a whole week sooner, which is only 10 days after their other really cool stuff that's happening. Apparently they wanted to do it all in December or in January because that's fun. So you can check out that show on Amazon Prime. It was only going to be available on Amazon Prime. They have the exclusive rights to that. So if you don't have an Amazon Prime membership, go get one. And if you get one, you get a free Twitch subscription and you can use it on our channel. You can subscribe here. And I am designing really cute little emotes that I'm sharing on my Twitter that are like little Red Ranger chibis and sorcerer chibis.
Oh, you're making emotes
cute.
out of those?
I'm gonna make emotes out of those.
Be awesome.
I know they're really cool. So Weston, what other Critical Role news do we have this week?
In other critical Critical Role news, we've got the Critical Role Tell Dory campaign setting, which is coming out on January the 18th. It's going to be released, of course, first in the Critical Role stores in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia in their stores. After that, it will be available in local stores. However, of course, they don't have dates because that will depend on when each store gets it in.
Yeah, shipping is not exactly reliable right now.
No, especially not these days. So if you can wait for it to be in your local game store to support your local businesses, but if you want that, you can start ordering on January the 18th. This will include content from the 20 years between Critical Role Campaign 1 and 2, new settings, information, monsters, magic, and even added subclasses and backgrounds for use with the 5th edition rule set. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff in there that maybe you'll be seeing or hearing about in Campaign 3 that's happening right now. So if you are a Critical Role fan, which, let's be honest, is most people in the TTRPG space, at least to some point.
I will be honest. I am a critter, but my life has become so busy. I do not have time to devote as much love for the critter space as I used to.
Yeah, it happens. But those will be available for you on January the 18th. And also on the this is a little bit farther out, but in July, they'll be releasing the next of the Critical Role Origins. We recently had Kith and Kin. Our next one will actually be Ford or Fjord or however.
The actual way, based on the spelling, to say that word is fjord.
Fjord.
But because I don't know why they threw a J in there, because they like to pronounce it Ford. Like a Ford F-250.
It's Ford Tough. That's what
we are. Ford Tough.
Fjord book release. So it'll be in stores in July. Right now they have July 13th.
You guys, it's not 11/29. Shush. Just remember that it's actually 12. It's like a month later. We're so on top of things. Anyway, so the writing of this comic is going to be by Kevin Burke and Chris Doc Wyatt, with Matt Mercer and Travis Willingham also included in the writing credits. Art is going to be handled by Selena Espiritu, with color by Diana Sosa and lettering by Ariana Mayer. Okay, so
I'm sure
going
it'll
on,
be gorgeous.
It is. Actually, they have released some of the pictures of the sneak peeks or whatever, and it is beautiful. The artwork is gorgeous. That is one thing Critical Role has never scraped on, is artwork, which is fantastic.
Well, and I'm very much interested in this, because then we get to find out how Ford comes from another planet, right?
No, even though that would have been the coolest plot twist ever in someone's
Or
character
maybe
story.
we'll find out what his real accent is, because it's neither of the ones used in the campaign.
It's true. Oh my gosh. If you have not watched Critical Role Season 2 or Campaign 2, you won't know what we're talking about, but it's okay. All right, so now to get into the juicy stuff. So this is the war of the lawsuits. A lot of this has happened, really come down in the last week or two. Mostly because TSR decided to throw a fit. So for those of you who don't know, TSR is the original creator of Dungeons & Dragons. They created it back in the 1970s and were the sole owners of it until 1997, when Wizards of the Coast came in with a offer to buy because they were not doing well. Sales were plummeting and it was like this whole thing. So when Wizards of the Coast purchased Dungeons and Dragons from TSR, they actually purchased all of the rights, including all intellectual property, trademark, and copyrighted information from TSR. That's everything.
They even purchased the name TSR.
Yeah, they purchased, that's what, like, everything, because TSR was copyrighted, like the whole, the Wizard Gamer thing, like that was all purchased by Wizards of the Coast. Now, TSR is trying to come back as a tabletop creator within the space and is finding kind of a struggle on their hands in getting a foothold because Wizards of the Coast is such a big juggernaut within the TTRPG community. So they decided, okay, I'm like showing my bias here really bad. I'm trying to be a professional journalism person. Didn't go to journalism school, but so TSR was suing Wizards of the Coast over a notice that was included in the content sold at the time of TSR's production. So all of the stuff that TSR did in the past, pre-1997, there is a notice that reads on all of these products sold by Wizards of the Coast that says, "We, Wizards, recognize that some of the legacy content available on this website does not reflect the values of the Dungeons & Dragons franchise today. Some older content may reflect ethnic, racial, and gender prejudice that were commonplace in American society at the time. These depictions were wrong then and are wrong today. This content is presented as it was originally created, because to do so otherwise would be to be the same as claiming these prejudices never existed. Dungeons & Dragons teaches that diversity is a strength, and we strive to make our D&D products as welcoming and inclusive as possible. This part of our work will never end." So that's what TSR was throwing a fit about, because they felt like it was incredibly slanderous and defaming to TSR and all the creators of the work from pre-1997.
Yeah, the only funny thing I find in that whole thing is, I'm like, I love how they act like those ideas only existed in American society.
Oh, yeah, no, it's true.
They existed in society. You can pretty much put them everywhere in the freaking world.
No, that's true. So TSR's response to this, when they decided to actually file a claim, was that TSR is suing Wizards of the Coast for trademark declaratory judgment of ownership. Okay.
Complicated.
Very
lawyer
complicated. Speak. TSR will also pursue in the near future having Wizards of the Coast remove the legacy content disclaimer placed on TSR-based Dungeons & Dragons and other products, and retractions of any other libel and slander which alleges that racism and other heinous beliefs are incorporated into these products. And I understand where they're coming from in that perspective. That does make sense to me. This disclaimer attempts to make a statement of fact argument, and therefore paints all the writers, editors, artists, and consumers of these products as supporting those alleged prejudices, stereotypes, and bigotry wrongfully claimed to be part of those products. This statement by Wizards of the Coast opens the possibility for the producers and players of these legacy products to face ridicule and face the labeling as bigots, racists, misogynists, and worse, cyber and physical attacks. So that was TSR's official statement when they filed the complaint. I believe it was with the New Jersey. Oh, shoot, I didn't write down. Anyway, that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But when they officially put in their complaint and
Into
was
court.
basically saying, we are suing Wizards of the Coast for this thing. The thing that I find incredibly interesting is they set all of this up as a GoFundMe, basically. I think it was like an Indiegogo. Yeah, it was Indiegogo. And they were asking for $50,000 to help with legal fees and kind of plans for setting up a museum of all of the older D&D things.
It fell flat.
It fell really, really badly. Like, it did not succeed at all. They have raised to date, and I checked it this afternoon, $5,000 of their $50,000 goal. They have officially withdrawn the lawsuit as of 12/13, with plans to refile the declaratory judgment of ownership in Washington State, but there is no date associated with that. The CEO of TSR has said that they are planning on pursuing this further in the future, but there's been really nothing put out
Washington
there
State
since.
might make more sense because that's where I believe Wizards of the
That
Coast
is.
headquarters is. So it actually does probably make sense to file there instead. But I question with the funding, the crowdfunding option that they had pushed falling so flat, I really question where this will go, especially with the next piece that comes up.
Especially with the next piece that came up. So, for all of you keeping track at home, Wizard of the Coast adds a disclaimer. TSR is like, it's unfair. You should take it down. TSR sues. They withdraw their complaints officially. Well, Wizards of the Coast wasn't having any of that. So, Wizards of the Coast decides to countersue TSR, saying what we had kind of discussed at the very beginning of all of this, that they own literally everything that TSR is. So their countersuit is saying that TSR is infringing on copyright and trademark property
By existing.
So
Which
this
is-
includes...
which is
it's
stupid.
fair.
No, it's not, because they bought everything, but they actually let the TSR name lapse. Their ownership of TSR, the name as a trademark, they let it lapse.
Did they?
Yes, they let that part lapse.
I did
That's
not
why
see
they
that
were
anywhere.
able. Yeah, that's why they were then able to reset up a company called TSR. Because the name itself, trademarking, you have to go back and redo it every so many years.
Yeah.
They let
Well,
the
that's true.
trademark for TSR lapse, which is why then they were able to purchase and trademark TSR again with the same logo and all that.
However,
But-
the official countersuit is saying that Wizards of the Coast does own all logos associated with TSR, every single one of them. And I'm not going to list all of them out because there were a lot of them. But every logo that TSR has ever had up to 1997 is under their intellectual property with Wizards of the Coast. It also includes the games Blackmoor and Star Frontier. Now, where the big part of this suit comes in is that Star Frontier was announced on the TSR Facebook page on approximately 12/1. I could not verify this information because I could not find their Facebook page. I did a deep search and I cannot find it. I don't know if it was removed.
TSR honestly has
might
done
have been.
a fairly lackluster job of marketing themselves. I think they were planning on having a big push at GaryCon or at
Gen Con.
Gen Con.
But they were
But then they were
banned from
banned
Gen Con
from Gen-
because of comments that were made by Ernie Gygax back like during the summer. Anyway, but this is the big thing. So this Facebook post said, like I said, it was unverifiable because I couldn't find Facebook group or page for it, but that TSR was working on an internal project of a reboot of Star Frontiers, which Wizards of the Coast currently holds the publication rights to. So Wizards of the Coast, this is their big juggernaut with this countersuit, is they're saying we own Star Frontier. You cannot do a reboot of something that we own, because they are currently selling the original form of Star Frontiers on DM's Guild.
It's a good question, because then you do also have the nature of Dungeons and Dragons community copyrights, to where you can make materials that are, I mean, there's a whole reason Pathfinder freaking exists is because you can, but they did call it something different. It's not called that on the front of it. Level Up, which is that, advanced Dungeons & Dragons type thing, it's called Level Up. So
and it's compatible with Dungeons and Dragons, but this is where they're really biting the teeth down on this situation. Wizards of the Coast is in that you are saying that you're internally creating something that we already own. So I can kind of see what they're going after. To claim that you're the creator when it's owned by someone else, that would be problematic. That's where the lawyers would need to get, if they really wanted to pursue this, the lawyers would have to be really, really, really drilled down on the details of all of this, because yes, Wizards of the Coast does own the intellectual property, but there is a level of ownership that the original creators still have of their original creation. So, I mean, and that goes into like copyright law and whatever. Really I don't have a lawyer degree, so I like it didn't go into all of that. But that's essentially what's happening as of today, as of right now. The 20th of December.
So you can see
there
it right there.
Is not. Oh yeah, you changed it. Good job. They have not withdrawn their lawsuit. Honestly, for the peace of the community, I kind of hope they do drop it, because I feel like TSR lost a long time ago. TSR is not going to win any kind of libel suit or anything like that. You have to prove in a libel suit that the people were knowingly harming, like in memos, in recorded conversations, that they say things like, yeah, we know we are destroying TSR by putting this at the beginning.
Yeah,
that's almost impossible to do.
It's hard to prove a lot of that.
Yeah.
Especially when you get the fact that a lot of the Dungeons and Dragons user base are going to have issues with a lot of that early content.
Yeah. Well, and it's like I have a couple of issues when I've read some of the things in the older editions of books and stuff. I do have a little, my feminist side sticks up a little bit and is a little bit like, what? Are you freaking serious? But I also try really hard to keep in mind the fact that all of these things were written in a day that is not the standard of 2021. It was the standard of 1972 or whatever.
And nowadays people expect that every product that you get put out is a definer of your morals. Yeah. So I understand Wizards of the Coast wanting to have those there. Mm-hmm. Here's my big thing with TSR in all this. From the moment that TSR kind of tried to come back on the scene, from what I've seen, and if you have different information, throw it in the comments. But
yeah, if you have opinions about any of this, guys, feel free to throw it in the comments.
From what I've seen, TSR tried to come back into the scene without creating anything. They literally are trying to ride the coattails of what was done a couple decades ago and whine about Wizards of the Coast. They didn't create any new games.
Do you guys see what Weston's hat says?
Yeah, creators, not takers.
Look at the camera. Weston's hat, look at the camera. Just look straight at the camera. Creators, not takers. That is what Weston's hat says. And that is like a huge motto at the company that he works at, is that you create something and then you like put it out in the world. You don't take from other people. And
what they pretty much did is like, okay, we're going to come back. Okay, and what's going to be our... we've got a follower. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Frosty020782, whatever. Oh my gosh, it went away really fast.
0782, you got it right.
There we go.
But that's the thing, is that they came in and they're like, oh, well, what are you bringing to the market? Oh, well, we already brought everything to the market.
Yeah, like, everything you're making money on, we brought to the market originally. But it's like, yeah, but you can't. No.
You sold it, dude.
It's not yours anymore. So, yeah, TSR really, I mean, they've kind of had mistake after mistake after mistake happen with their trying to re-merge.
They need to go create something new.
Yeah.
And just
change their name.
I think they can keep the name. I think they can.
I don't think Wizards of the Coast is going to let them.
Well, I don't think Wizards of the Coast has any say over the name because they purchased it. They lost the right to it. Someone else purchased it. Legally, they get the name.
True.
However, the logo, you're right, the logo might not be the same thing. So they might have to have a new logo, which at that point, if they're pushing for trying to be nostalgic, that's going to hurt them.
Yeah. So Kev says, I feel like TSR was banking on this being good publicity for them. I think that you're kind of right there.
And I don't think they're right about that.
No, at least not with the online communities. Like, you look at Reddit and Twitter, which is where a lot of the TTRPG people live online. It's not positive. Most people on Twitter are ripping TSR apart. Reddit is a little bit more conservative, and so they're a little bit more leaning on giving them the benefit of the doubt. But even then, they're very much like, "What are you doing?" There is
a series of what's called Old Renaissance that's coming back of people that are very much wanting the older styles
of gameplay.
And I think that there is a market for that, but TSR needs to appeal to that group, not whine about the other group.
Well, and not alienate. Like, if you're wanting to create something, you need to, like, go create and then appeal to your market audience, not come into the space that's already established by the juggernaut, Wizards of the Coast, and whine and complain at them. Because that's all they've done.
Yeah, and KevBot brings it up. He's like, I think they were thinking everyone will support us against the big bad Wizards of the Coast. And I agree with you completely. I think that's exactly what they thought would happen.
And the reverse happened. It was like they underestimated, because they're run by a lot of older men who don't understand the way that
things
working are right now in the TTRPG space and online. Like, you can't just like come out and whine at the largest TTRPG group and think it will be successful.
You can, but you have to whine about it in things that the people care about.
Yeah, that's true.
And complaining
you can't
that someone called your older, more racist material older and racist is really not going to work in our current culture. Oh my gosh, someone called the old white man racist. Oh my gosh. It's done every freaking day.
I know, it's every 5 seconds.
So that's not going to resonate. And
no, it's not.
I think that that's where they're falling flat. They are, like you said, I don't think they know how to resonate with current demographics. I think they resonate with a lot of the older demographics, but the older demographics aren't the ones that are allowed online.
Well, that and the lawsuit honestly is silly.
Yeah,
it's stupid. Like, if you look, when I really started reading the articles and the news reports and the press releases and all that stuff in preparation for today's episode, I was just realizing like how stupid this was a nuisance lawsuit in like every form. But I feel like Wizards of the Coast is gonna bop these guys like really hard to make them go away completely. And I also don't feel like that's necessarily a good thing either to do. Yeah. I think Wizards of the Coast, since I don't know, this might be my very bleeding heart of like, everybody just get along. But I feel like Wizards of the Coast should back off now that TSR has withdrawn their complaints.
Because it also isn't a good idea to alienate their more stable
their base but demographic, yeah.
But they don't seem to care about that with their base demographic, which we'll get into in just a minute.
Well, okay, yeah. So going on to now that we're
but talking about lawsuits and Wizards of the Coast.
Speaking of lawsuits and Wizards of the Coast, so
the new Dragonlance books.
Wait, are you doing this?
Remember, we were doing that one first.
I thought I was doing that one, and then you're doing the problematic one.
No.
I'm doing 5. You doing 6.
Fine.
You do no. Okay, you do 5.
I've read the Dragonlance
No,
books.
I just remember now that I had said, sorry, guys, sorry.
So there was a little while back, there was a situation and a lawsuit between Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman and Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast tried to back out of a book deal when it was already far down the line. Publishers had already paid them and everything. Well, we are getting those books. Things were resolved. New Dragonlance books will be coming. They will be released August 9th of 2022. Dragons of Deceit will be Dragonlance Destinies Volume 1, including old friends and new heroines.
Destina Rosethorn. That's the name of the
new
lead character.
All right. Let's see. Official blurb. Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman return to the unforgettable world of the New York Times bestselling Dragonlance series. As a new heroine, desperate to restore her beloved father to life, sets off on a quest to change time. Ooh, don't change time. That always causes problems. Always causes problems.
It creates variance.
Yeah, so this is released after that litigation was happening back in, when was that?
It was the beginning of the years, end of 2020 to early 2021.
Yeah, it was for $10 million in damages.
Mm-hmm. But they were pushing for a trial, a jury trial, which, by the way, if it was a jury trial and Margaret and Tracy won, then the jury could award any
additional damages,
number of penal damages to them. So Wizards of the Coast settled out of court. Neither group have been willing to say anything about what the settlement was, except for Tracy did say that he was very gratified by the settlement. So it must have been a hefty sum.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, they're getting the books.
Yep. All 3 books are being released.
Their books are being released, which is what originally they wanted.
Yay!
So we will get those books starting.
Hi, Raging Guard. Hi, bye. But yes, we are going to get those books, which is awesome. So
we'll get our Kender, if you need your Kender fix.
Yeah, and they're like definitely, if you
they need to have Tess Hofburrowfoot. It's got to be in there. You gotta throw it. Oh, is he? Yeah. I haven't read. I need to read those.
That's the short blurb. There's a much longer blurb on Amazon.com if you want to read that. But yeah, the books are going to be released August 9th. Well, the first one, August 9th, 2022.
All right.
And it's currently in pre-orders.
Last piece, honey.
Okay, you guys, last piece. This is the one that everybody came here for, which we're going to be talking about. Oh, shoot, I lost my pages. Where is it? Okay, Wizards of the Coast. This is not a Wizards of the Coast episode, but, a
lot of news.
A lot of news, guys. So Wizards of the Coast has removed the problematic lore, including alignments within their 5th edition books, including all digital forms of the book. So everything on D&D Beyond, everything in the PDFs, literally everything digitally has been changed. The only things that they can't change are physical books. So, hold on to those 5th editions because they may be worth some money to collectors at one point.
PDFs you've had previously that you downloaded already and things like that. But yeah.
So, Wizards of the Coast decided to do this in a move to make a more welcoming and inclusive, product for its customers. That's what their official thing said. So they removed a plethora of problematic lore from the books, including racial stereotyping of any kind, aka the Drows are not always evil, orcs are not always evil. Basically, all generalizations of any race has been taken away, including any discussion of intelligence races or intelligence levels of races as well has been removed. So there's no discussions about how orcs are stupid or elves are smart or whatever. Like, they've kind of removed all of that. And the big thing that has made the most ruckus that I have seen online is the alignment system has been removed.
So has it been removed?
It has
completely?
been removed completely.
There
is no alignment system anymore for D&D. Now, most other systems are probably going to keep alignment at least for a little while. So, I imagine Pathfinder is going to hold it for a bit, but I would not be surprised if 3.0 with Pathfinder, when that comes out, they remove the alignment system as well.
Yeah. We'll get into that more
but it's created and for those of you who are online, specifically on Twitter, you have seen the ridiculous ruckus that this has made with fans on either side of the spectrum. And I really, for one reason and one reason alone, I do not like that Wizards of the Coast did this. And it's because it has created such an incredible division within the TTRPG community, forcing people to feel like they have to choose a side. I'm very ambiguous to it, to be totally honest. I have feelings about alignments and gameplay, but I don't have any feelings of really D&D or Wizards of the Coast choosing to take this out and remove things that they find problematic. I might feel like it's a little bit like, okay, whatever. But for me, it's like, okay, whatever. I don't have really, really strong feelings about it, but online there are people staking flags and dying on hills over this situation. It is insanity. So
and we're gonna get into that.
We're gonna get into that.
A little
Okay.
more.
And then our very last section. Oh my gosh, tonight's TTRPG news is going really long. Our very last section is our indie roundup.
Indie roundup.
Ride, cowboy.
All right, we have 3 incredible creators today for our indie roundup. The first off is Critical Hit Cookies. You can find them at Hit Cookies on Twitter. They are absolutely incredible. So the creator, Carrie, she has combined her 2 loves of baking and TTRPGs into a community or into a company with the perfect snacks in mind for your table. So
Are you serious?
she has everything, you guys. Her website has absolutely everything. Any snack that you can really think of that is a baked good is on it. Cookies, brownies, brittle, special holiday treats, and like I really, after watching or going through her website, my mouth was watering and I wanted to make cookies really bad.
Is this why you made the bread the other day?
Maybe. So you can go check out her website. It's criticalhitcookies.com. There was a death in the family recently, and so their delivery schedule is a little bit slower than it normally would be. But if you are interested in getting cookies or yummies that are designed specifically for your table, all handmade, she doesn't have it manufactured anyway. You order it, she bakes you by hand a dozen cookies and sends them to your table. So go check her out. It's absolutely incredible. Like I said, it's criticalhitcookies.com, and the Twitter handle is @hitcookies. Okay, so next we have Dungeon Matter.
Dungeon Matter.
Dungeon Matter is actually somebody that I connected with when I first started on my journey in the TTRPG space on Twitter, and he has a very special place in my heart. But they are a homebrewed in name and content. Sorry, let me re-say this again. Homebrew is the name and content is the game for Dungeon Matter. Currently creating homebrewed content for D&D and TTRPGs, he has created the Siphoner class, which right now is 50% off until December 26th on DM's Guild. And the Urban Druid archetype is dropping on Christmas Eve on his Ko-fi. Coffee. You can go check him out and all the other awesome products that he has at linktr.ee/Dungeon Matter. Amazing person, super supportive within the TTRPG space. Go check them out on Twitter. Go like, follow, all this stuff. Everybody that we feature, please go support them. And then our very last creator for today is Delve TTRPG Candles.
I've heard of these.
I know. They were one of the giveaways for the Bards and Brews thing that we did.
Yes.
I did like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
The grind?
Yeah, the grinder. Oh my gosh, that was so much fun. But they are absolutely incredible. So Delve Candle Company was born out of a love of tabletop role-playing games and the everyday magic that they bring to our lives. TTRPGs, this is from the creator, TTRPGs have brought me so much joy, and I wanted to find a small way to contribute that same joy to other players at their table. With that in mind, I've designed the immersive sense of Delve Candles to elevate your TTRPG gaming experience by evoking various moods and settings commonly encountered by adventuring parties. So she has paired scenarios with candle scents, you guys. Like, how cool is that? I really want a bunch of these. I shouldn't do this because then I just want to go buy all of the things.
Although I wonder what would be the sewer, candle.
Oh, that would be really bad. Okay, so
exploring desolate ruins.
Yeah. Searching dusty tomes of long forgotten secrets and adventuring on the high seas, our candles will add another dimension of immersion to your in-game world. I would be honored and humbled if you gave one of our candles a seat at your table to bring your life story to life. So go check them out at delvecandles.com or their Twitter handle, which is @delvecandles. Absolutely awesome. We love these creators. Thank you so much for letting us feature you guys today on TTRPG News.
And that's tonight's TTRPG News. Bye.